My name is Igor Andrade. I am a intern for the summer of 2021 here at the Spady Museum. Today I'm here with Khaulah Nurridin. She's the exhibit preparator for the museum. Hello, Khaulah, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm well. Thank you. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. So what exactly do you do for the Spady Museum?
Well, my official title, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's a wonderful opportunity to share a little bit about the potential jobs in the arts that young people might not be aware of. So this is a great project. So thank you.
Thank you so
Um,
much.
yeah, so my position is I'm the exhibitions manager. And because the Spady Museum is a relatively small operation, um, we wear many hats. So as exhibitions manager, I do preparator work. I do curatorial work. Sometimes take out the trash, So, my job is multifaceted, but my title is exhibitions manager.
Okay, and what is the degree that you study to be in the position you are in now? And which one would you recommend for someone who has to be who wants to be an exhibit preparator like you?
Okay, so preparators. So my position at the Spady, it's a great fit for me because I was a preparator and I have been a preparator. And because a preparator, they build things, they install artwork, they assist in some design elements of, exhibitions. But, in general, a preparator is someone who makes things happen. They get the physical thing done. And that, like I said, is installing artworks. It might be building a structure for a sculpture or assisting the artist in, various ways. But it doesn't require much. They're not necessarily creating the artworks or doing the curatorial part where you're choosing works or maybe writing about an exhibition or coming up with exhibition ideas. So at the Spady, I do those things under the umbrella of the Spady's mission. So at a history museum, it's important, and our specific space, the Spady Museum, we focus on local history. But then we bring in other elements of, current things that are going on in the local community, and then relate that to other communities in the area in South Florida. So as a preparator, so you asked me about how, what degree is required. So for a preparator, technically, you don't exactly have to have a degree. You could be an intern or an apprentice and become a preparator. And that requires for you to know how to use a variety of tools. You have to be excellent at problem solving, physical space, and installing objects, smartly, thoughtfully. So you don't technically have to have a degree for that. I do have 2 degrees, a bachelor's in art, a BFA with a concentration in painting, and I have a master's degree, an MFA, also with a concentration in painting. But those studio art degrees have been helpful to me in learning so many things around how to create on a variety of levels. But again, like I said, you don't have to have a master's degree. You could get, and this is something that any young person should do research about. If you're interested in the work that I do. You can get a degree in curatorial work, and that there's a bachelor's degree. So when you get the fine art degrees, they require a little bit more. So I think what's most important for a person who's interested in becoming an exhibitions manager or a curator or a preparator, what's important is to really spend some time working with people in the field. And I think like what you're doing right now, being an intern, is crucial. And when I was getting my bachelor's degree, I took a couple of courses in where, you know, essentially I was an intern, and then I was hired into the museum. So the Contemporary Art Museum in Tampa at USF, I was an intern there for credit for the university, but afterward I was hired and I learned many things about how to install artwork, why certain artworks are selected, and how to really honor what the institution is trying to do, and making sure that, you know, your goals are in line with the institution.
And what is the pay range for the position of a preparator?
Pay range, it can vary depending on what the institution's needs are and how those needs meet up with the individual. So for me, being a contract employee actually serves me really well, because I'm not restricted to specific timeframes where I have to physically be in the office. I'm able to get my work done in a very concentrated manner to be sure that the exhibition is ready to go on opening day. And then I still get to focus on my personal art practice, and I can travel when I need to you know, do things in my, you know, very relatively broad art career. So if I want to go to conferences, or, you know, go experience certain works of art in other places, or do summer camp activities, you know, I'm able to, you know, do those things and still, you know, serve the Spady Museum.
You have a lot of freedom to do what you want, in a way, right?
Exactly. Which I understand is, you know, quite a luxury, but it also is something that, you know, the individual who's entering into one of these contract positions needs to consider, because, you know, there's the flexibility is great, but there's not exactly much job security. And in a lot of jobs or art career, a lot of jobs in under the umbrella of art careers, they can be very unstable in a way. So, you know, quite often it means piecing together different.
So how much of what you know now about how to do your job and how to perform it, you learned it after you joined a museum, like as a paid professional?
That's a really good question. I feel like any position you enter into with a new institution, you should be learning something. You should be bringing something to the table, and you should be getting something out of it. So there are things that I've learned about in my position at the Spady Museum that I didn't need to know when I was working at art museums. So the Spady Museum being a history museum, that means that there's a lot more context that needs to be given to any imagery. And, you know, there needs to be a lot more didactic text. So we need to have a lot more informational text than you would have to when you're working in an art museum or an art gallery, because the pictures are supposed to speak for themselves. Whereas with the Spady Museum, I've learned how important it is to, you know, really spell out the context for an image. If there's a photograph of an individual, you need to tell the viewer what this image is all about, why it's important to this local history, why it's important to know about this individual. Whereas if you're at an art exhibition, at a gallery or a museum or any art space, there can be a photograph there with just the title,
Mm-hmm.
and that's acceptable when you are, when the goal of the institution is to, smartly share, that Black history.
Okay, so the last question I have is, why did you choose the Spady Museum?
Well, I am Black and I really enjoy working with people of color and making sure that, truths are shared. So actually, it was kind of like the Spady Museum chose me in a way, or like we kind of came together, in this, serendipitous way. I was actually working for Florida Atlantic University galleries, and one of the things I did there was install artworks. So that was one of the things I did under my position as a preparator. So I went to the Spady Museum with one of my colleagues in order to install an exhibition of the Highwaymen paintings. And while I was there, I was having, genuine conversation with, Charlene, the director, and Sharon, our financial director. And, something about our conversation, it clicked.
Mm-hmm.
So down the road, we came together to create this position for me to, kind of, the goal was for me to kind of make what's happening in the museum more contemporary, to appeal to, younger people, to appear to a wide range of people and bring in, guests who might not have the museum on their radar by kind of making it more modern and, look at programming that could be more inviting to, especially young people.
Uh-huh.
Because talking about history with older people who are very excited about these conversations doesn't help history to, keep being,
To actually take effect in a way, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So that it doesn't get lost. And it's been a pleasure learning about, local history that I wasn't even aware of until, or I had no drive to go find that. I look at I previously looked at Black history more on a national level and looking at local spaces that I had a personal relationship to. So this has really helped me to, gain a fondness for, Palm Beach County history and South Florida Black history. Yeah, so it's really been a pleasure.
Okay, so thank you so much for the answers. Thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate the time you took to answer the questions and the really good, elaborate and answers you gave me. This was Khaulah Nurridin, the exhibit preparator. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely, and thank you for having me.
Thank you.